Samgate Bodhisagate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisagate. Nam mô Phật Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni. Hôm nay sang năm mới, quý thầy kính chúc toàn thể các vị thiền sinh sang năm mới dồi dào sức khỏe, siêng năng tinh tấn, để càng ngày chúng ta sống giờ phút chánh niệm an lạc nó nhiều hơn, do chúng ta học lời Phật, ứng dụng lời Phật và được lợi ích càng ngày càng nhiều hơn sang năm 2020 này.
He says Happy New Year. He wishes everyone Happy New Year and have a fruitful year of practicing the Dharma, practicing meditation, so you'll come closer to releasing your suffering and stay on the path vigilantly.
Năm ngoái chúng ta học kinh Pháp Cú tới câu thứ 27. Hôm nay chúng ta tiếp tục tới câu 28 và 29. Thì câu kinh Pháp Cú thứ 28, cái tích truyện được Đức Phật Ngài dạy khi Ngài ở tại Kỳ Viên, đề cập đến Ngài Đại Ca Diếp. Khi Đức Phật ở tại Kỳ Viên thì Ngài Ca Diếp thường Ngài đi trì bình khất thực. Rồi sau khi trở về, Ngài dùng ngọ, xong Ngài ngồi nhập thiền định. Ngài dùng cái thiên nhãn Ngài xem tất cả chúng sanh. Có khi mất ở đây, tái sanh ở chỗ kia, Ngài nhìn Ngài rõ, Ngài thấy hết. Ngài thấy ở tất cả chúng sanh ở trên cạn cũng như chúng sanh ở dưới nước và chúng sanh ở trên không đều sanh ra, rồi có khi sanh ra phải chịu những đau khổ. Khi đó Đức Phật Ngài đã tại hương thất, Ngài cũng ngồi thiền, Ngài dùng cái thiên nhãn Ngài xem xét ở trong tất cả chúng sanh, thì thấy đệ tử của mình là Ngài Đại Ca Diếp cũng đang dùng cái trí tuệ để mà xem xét tất cả chúng sanh. Thì Đức Phật Ngài thì tới Ngài Ca Diếp và Ngài đọc lên cái bài kệ thứ 28 này.
So we've been reading the Dhammapada Sutra. Last time we met, we discussed the verse 26 and 27. This time we're going to discuss verse 28 and 29. During one season of meditation, the Buddha, with his eye of wisdom, were able to oversee all living beings and recognize the suffering of all living beings. And with this sutra, particularly the verse 28, 29, he gives a little lecture on how to overcome your suffering through your meditation, and here we be talking about overcoming sloth through your earnestness.
Câu thứ 28. Nhờ trừ hết buông lung, kẻ trí không còn lo sợ gì. Bậc thánh hiền khi bước lên lầu cao, lên lầu trí tuệ, nhìn lại thấy rõ kẻ ngu si ôm nhiều lo sợ, chẳng khác nào khi lên được núi cao nhìn lại muôn vật trên mặt đất.
So the verse 28 is overcoming sloth and earnestness. The wise climb beyond suffering to the peaks of wisdom. They look upon the suffering multitude as one from a mountaintop looks on the plains below. So in this verse, we're talking about individual that knows the Dharma and practices the Dharma, being able to see through wisdom, recognizing their suffering, and practicing the Dharma to overcome suffering, versus someone that doesn't know the Dharma, doesn't recognize their own suffering, and continue to suffer needlessly.
Câu thứ 28 này, Đức Phật dạy nhờ trừ hết buông lung, kẻ trí không còn lo sợ. Tại vì khi Đức Phật Ngài nhìn quan sát thì Ngài thấy biết cái nguyên nhân của chúng sanh tạo nghiệp gì, tạo cái nhân ác thì sẽ thọ lãnh cái quả khổ, rồi tạo cái nhân lành thì được cái quả bảo ăn vui. Thấy Ngài Đại Ca Diếp Ngài quán xét Đức Phật biết, Ngài Ca Diếp thì không biết rõ hết cái nguyên nhân, nên Đức Phật Ngài dạy như vậy. Và Đức Phật Ngài nhắc là ai mà buông lung á thì sẽ không có thoát khỏi cái lo sợ và lo buồn.
So in this verse, just to expand on the teaching here, the Buddha being able to see individual suffering, see the cause and effect of their action that brings suffering, advises us to be diligent in watching our mind, watching our action, watching our speech, making sure that our mind, body, and speech doesn't create suffering for ourselves and others. So, just like, for example, if you are not aware of doing something that hurt yourself, if you're not aware of it, you won't recognize that you're suffering from it, right? And when you can't recognize that you're suffering it, there's no change. You continue suffer because of ignorance. So one of the teaching is overcoming ignorance. That's the beginning. Overcome ignorance allows you to see your action, mind and speech, and how it affects you and others. So that speaks to cause and effect, right? And through the practice of the Dharma, particularly the meditation, what we're doing is we're observing our mind, observing our action, observing our speech, right? And not quickly reacting to anything. So as you experience through life, you apply the same method as you do in meditation, observing, right? And taking that momentary pause to contemplate on your speech, your thought, and your action. Why do we talk about thought a lot? Because everything starts from thought. Your experience, your life, everything starts from the thought. Then it transcended to your speech or your action. Right? So it's very important to focus on the thought. That's why in meditation, what we're doing is we're looking in versus looking out as we normally do. Right? When we look out, all we see is a reaction, but we never get to realize the cause of that. Right? So we're reacting based upon the reaction. So that's why we continue to repeat the karma, and we continue to repeat the suffering. Now when we look back within, then we begin to contemplate on the action, look back within, then that avail you the ability to dissect the cause and effect. And from there, you can begin to make changes as necessary to overcome the suffering. Letting go of things that are not wise and skillful in bringing you peace and happiness, right? And focusing on things that are skillful, that help you on your path and on releasing suffering.
Bậc Thánh Hiền khi bước lên lầu cao trí tuệ, nhìn lại thấy rõ kẻ ngu si ôm nhiều lo sợ, chẳng khác nào khi lên được núi cao, nhìn lại muôn vật trên mặt đất. Đức Phật dạy những người mà dứt buông lung thì không có lo sợ, còn cái người mà buông lung á thì lo như chúng ta ăn nhậu vui chơi theo cái vui của mình, nhưng mà trải qua thời gian thì chúng ta sao? Ăn nhậu thời gian thì nó sẽ sanh bệnh, mà từ chỗ sanh bệnh là lúc đó chúng ta lo sợ. Khi bác sĩ khám, bác sĩ nói gan mình ở giai đoạn thứ 2, thứ 3, thứ 4 gì rồi, lúc đó chúng ta sao? Lo sợ. Mà cái lo sợ của mình nó có hết bệnh không? Không, mà nó sao? Nó sẽ dẫn mình đi đến chết. Mà cái người có trí á, người ta nhìn, người ta không có buông lung, ta cũng ăn cũng làm việc, nhưng mà ta có cái chừng mực, có cái điều độ và có cái hạn chế. Cho nên ta thấy cái gì lợi ích thì ta làm, cái gì không lợi ích thì chúng ta ngưng. Cho nên các vị đệ tử của Phật, các vị thánh đệ tử của Phật, khi mà vượt qua những cái cám dỗ, những cái buông lung đó, làm chủ được mình và có cái trí tuệ, cho nên khi Ngài chứng được cái quả vị thánh như Ngài Đại Ca Diếp, Ngài quán xét, Ngài thấy tất cả chúng sanh lúc mà gieo nhân lành thì hưởng quả vui, lúc mà gieo nhân khổ thì lúc mà gieo nhân ác thì chịu cái quả khổ từ ở nơi kiếp này rồi cho tới gieo cái nhân ác, cho nên nó kéo dài qua tới kiếp khác, và khi vừa sanh ra lại chịu nhiều cái quả đau khổ. Ngài thấy rõ như vậy. Đức Phật Ngài nói cái người có trí tuệ, người ta không có buông lung, từ chỗ không buông lung cho nên ta siêng năng tinh tấn tu tập, bỏ ác làm lành, rồi nỗ lực tu tập được cái trí tuệ sáng suốt, chứng quả được những cái quả vị thánh. Và từ chỗ đó Đức Phật Ngài ví dụ những cái vị đó giống như đứng trên cái lầu cao nhìn xuống thấy tất cả chúng sanh gieo cái nghiệp thiện, cái nghiệp ác, rồi sanh lên gọi là luân hồi trong 6 nẻo đó, nó thay đổi như vậy. Cho nên chúng ta muốn được an ổn là chúng ta phải không buông lung. Chúng ta thường lo sợ là chúng ta biết chúng ta buông lung tạo nhiều cái nghiệp ác.
Okay, so expanding on that, a wise person is the one that can see him or herself, right? Starting from the mind, as I said before. A wise person is someone that can recognize what brings suffering versus one that cannot recognize that. Right? So practicing Dharma will allow you to have insight into your world, into your action, into your environment, knowing the skillful habits to repeat and to let go of unskillful habits. Just as if you were to stand up in a mountain looking down, you see your view of the world is much clearer. Right? You see overall, you're not tunnel vision into one aspect of life. You see a broader view of life. Right? So the analogy is like someone that's wise, understanding suffering, standing up in the mountains and seeing people that are ignorant go on their daily life repeating their ignorance, their action that contribute to their suffering. So, you know, awareness allow us to see things a little bit clearer, give us insight. Right? But that's not enough. Diligent is the force, and that helps us continue that. And through diligent and seeing the result of your action, see clearly what's skillful and unskillful. Those two combined together enforces us to maintain on the path to practice the Dharma. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions so far?
Chúng ta tiếp tới câu thứ 29. Câu thứ 29, Đức Phật dạy dựa trên cái tích truyện gọi là hai huynh đệ. Thì hai huynh đệ được xuất gia dưới Phật thì cùng học hỏi cái phương pháp tu. Sau khi học hỏi phương pháp tu và hai vị này xin Đức Phật tìm nơi thanh vắng để mà nỗ lực tu. Thì trong thời gian 3 tháng thì khi hai huynh đệ đi thì một vị thì cũng cùng chung học với Phật, nhưng mà một vị thì thích nói chuyện với các vị cận sự nam, cận sự nữ và những chú sa di, và lo ăn mặc ở sưởi ấm của mình, dành trọn thời gian đó ngày qua ngày cứ như vậy. Còn một vị thì sau khi nghe lời Phật dạy trở về cùng chung nơi đó, thì tới giờ ăn thì cũng ăn. Sau khi ăn thì bắt đầu tìm nơi thanh vắng để mà nỗ lực tinh tấn tu tập, ứng dụng cái lời của Phật dạy. Thì hai huynh đệ cùng đi chung với nhau. Hai cái huynh mà tìm chỗ nơi thanh vắng thì cũng nhắc cái huynh kia nên hạn chế bớt lại, bớt tiếp xúc nói chuyện, hay là bớt cái thời gian lo cho cái thân của mình, mà hãy dành trọn cái thời gian lo tinh tấn tu. Cái vị kia thì cứ làm lơ đi. Thì cái vị mà siêng năng tinh tấn tu thì trải qua một thời gian ứng dụng thì chứng được quả vị thánh. Sau khi 3 tháng nó trôi qua, cái vị mà lo buông lung nói chuyện này kia đó, thì sau 3 tháng thì không có chứng quả được gì. Sau đó khi trở về, hai vị này trở về thăm Phật. Khi trở về thăm Phật thì Đức Phật Ngài hỏi các vị như thế nào, tu như thế nào, có được lợi ích, có được an lạc, có được gì không. Thì các vị mà là lười không có siêng năng tinh tấn tu hay nói chuyện thì chê vị kia, nói vị kia là lo vô rừng thì kia chắc vô trong kia là ngủ, vô trong kia vắng để lo ngủ, lo chơi, không có tin, không lo tu. Nhưng Đức Phật Ngài mới hỏi cái vị kia, thì vị kia mới nói là con vào trong rừng để con tìm cái nơi thanh vắng để mà con chuyên ứng dụng cái lời Phật dạy là tinh tấn tu, cho nên con chứng được cái quả vị. Thì Đức Phật Ngài mới quở cái vị mà buông lung, không có lo tu tập, và Ngài đúc kết lại, Ngài nói về bài kệ 29: tinh tấn giữa đám người buông lung, tỉnh táo giữa đám người mê ngủ, kẻ trí như con tuấn mã, thẳng tiến bỏ lại sau con ngựa gầy hèn.
So moving to verse 29, let's talk about earnest practice and diligent. Earnest among those who are indolent, awake among those who slumber. The wise advance like a racehorse, leaving others behind. So there's a story behind this. But two of the Buddha disciples, their friends, they came to the Buddha one day asking the Buddha to teach them about the Dharma. So the Buddha taught them how to practice, taught them about the Dharma, and they went on their way to practice. One went into the forest and diligently practiced the meditation, the Dharma, watching his mind, watching his speech and action, while the other one was a little bit more relaxed. You know, he was more more focused on comfort and enjoying life as it is, and didn't practice as well. And then after one season, they came back to see the Buddha, and the Buddha asked them, you know, how was their practice? And the one that were just enjoying life didn't have much to say. In fact, he sort of badmouthed the other guy and said, you know, I don't know, I practiced, but you know, the other guy just went off in the jungle. I don't know what he does in there. You know, he's maybe just sleeping or being lazy. Who knows? But found out that the one that went practicing in the forest were able to control and his mind and actually reach enlightenment in terms of reaching arahantship. So that means arahant, if you're not aware of that, is non-returner in English term, where the person is enlightened, not as enlightened as the Buddha, but enlightened enough to get rid of fetters and things that brings suffering to he or herself. So here, the teaching here, the main point is diligent. You know, practicing awareness is one thing, but most importantly, diligent, meaning consistent in the practice. Maintain your focus in the practice. Maintain your focus on the path of the practice. And using all skillful means that you learn through the Dharma, through your teacher, and to practice to reach the point of enlightenment. So there's no, you know, there's no, since we're here only what, maybe at best 100 years, you know, right? The chance to be a human is very rare. You know, it is said that the Buddha says the chance of being human is like looking for a needle in the vast ocean. Right? So our chance of, you know, and being human is the most advantageous in terms of the practice of the Dharma. Because why? Because we have the intelligence, we have the ability to use our mind, to use skillful means, right? And because we know about suffering, because we suffer. Only you know suffering, then you can want a way out of suffering. Then that gives you the momentum, the diligence to work towards the path of non-suffering, right? You know, there's, you know, Buddha even says that even the, quote, gods or heavenly beings are not as fortunate as humans. And why is that? They're in a higher state, yes, but eventually, once they lose their karma, they'll come back to the lower state. The reason is that heavenly beings, they live in pure luxuries, in comfort, so they don't know what suffering is. So there's nothing for them to entice them to practice the Dharma, to learn the Dharma.
Mình là người tỉnh hay là người mê ngủ? Mình muốn là mình là người trí như con ngựa mạnh, hay là mình muốn là người ngu như con ngựa gầy hèn?
He's asking, do you want to be awakened and wise, or slumber and ignorant?
Mình là người tỉnh táo hay là người mê ngủ? Thì cuộc đời này á, Đức Phật Ngài nói cái thân mình đó, nó là giả, giống như giấc mộng vậy đó. Một đời 70-80 tuổi, chúng ta nhìn lại từ hồi mình sanh ra tới giờ, mình nhìn lại những cái được mất hơn thua phải quấy đối với mình giống như là một cái giấc mộng. Và mình là người trí hay là như là con ngựa mạnh? Người trí như hay là con ngựa mạnh á, là nói là mình phải tự chiến thắng được mình và tỉnh táo vươn lên, vượt qua mọi cái cám dỗ. Còn người ngu á, như con ngựa gầy hèn á, thì cứ đắm chìm theo với ngũ dục. Cho nên Phật dạy chúng ta là người biết đạo lý, lúc nào cũng phải nhớ mình là con tuấn mã, đừng nghĩ là con ngựa gầy. Phải tỉnh táo giữa đám người đang mê ngủ, nhớ lấy lời Phật dạy mà áp dụng trong cuộc sống, thì sẽ thấy mình có sức mạnh hơn những kẻ tầm thường.
So, let me try to summarize this. The most important victory in our life, in our short life, is to overcome our grasping and clinging, to overcome and control our mind, right? Not letting it wander off, clinging and grasping to the external, to things that don't bring us peace and happiness and ultimate nirvana, right? So that, you know, we're here for 80, 100 years, very short time in terms of, if you think about the Buddhist philosophy of reincarnation, right? 100 years, we've been here eons, thousands, maybe billions of years. So 100 years, just a blink of an eye. But consider that even within the blink of an eye, this 100 years, you know, the Buddha was able to overcome all the fetters and be awakened. So did many of his disciples. That means we have the same opportunity even within this short amount of time, right? So the most important thing is to overcome the mind, the wandering mind, the mind that brings us suffering, the clinging mind, the grasping mind, grasping and clinging to things that don't only bring us temporary enjoyment, but doesn't bring us lasting enjoyment. Clinging to the body that will one day becomes, you know, a pile of bones, right? You know, just think about how you go about your day, all the effort you put into your sustaining this body, not considering that eventually it will go away. And you forget about your mind, you forget to cultivate and practice the mind. The body is just a vehicle, right? Eventually it'll die, it'll become trash, or, you know, a bunch of bones. But the mind still continue to the next life. That's the only thing that we can take with us. All the material that you think is important in your life, that you work so hard, suffer to have, you know, what is it for? How much can you eat? How many carbs can you have that brings you happiness? How much money do you really need? Think about all that when you're striving for those external things that you think makes you happy. Step back a little bit. Especially when you're suffering from the effort of getting those things. Think about it. You know, does it really help you in the long run? Reassess yourself. Think of it critically and honestly, and find out for yourself. Look back at your life, things in your life in the past when you were young, where you thought were so important. Are they important now? So reflect back and look at your current life, your present life. What are you doing that you think is so important? Are there other things that you can focus your energy and your time to better yourself for the long term, as well as to benefit others? Right?
Thank you, God.
Anyone have any questions or comment or to add your experience as well? Yes?
How many times do we come back? Is there a...
the incarnation,
yeah.
Reincarnation. You come back until you reach arahantship.
Okay.
Arahantship is a non-returner. There's 4 steps in that. There's 4 levels of awakening. There's once returner, I forget what they're calling in English, but once returner is the first step that you go into there, and then they come back for 7 life, and then the last non-returner. When you get to reach a non-returner, you don't come back and reincarnate. In terms of reincarnation, in terms of embodying suffering, you escape all suffering from there. Your existence doesn't mean that you disappear. The consciousness still continues.
Okay.
Except you have no more fetters, no more clinging, no grasping. So things that cause us to suffer. Because you think about it, when you don't grasp for anything, when you don't cling to anything, you don't have that state of mind of needing things. Does that just release all the suffering, right? Because why are you suffering? Most of the time, if you think about, you're suffering of not having something, thinking you don't have something, you don't have enough something, right? Let's say, I'll give you an example here. We see diamonds, right? It's valuable. It's very attractive, right? Because it has a value. We apply value to it, right? So let's assume that's your clinging, right? So you do all this effort, you make all this effort to have such a thing, right? You may even kill people for it, do unskillful things for it, you work yourself to death for it, wherever that may be, right? You sell your children for it, it's cases like that, right? Now, imagine if you're in a world where diamonds abundant. People don't even care. It's like sand. Would you suffer not having it? No. Because you don't cling to that, right? The same thing here. We remove the fetters, remove the clinging, remove the grasping by maintaining focus, by staying present, right? Because these things will come up. Let's say you see something attractive. The next thing you know is, I want it. The mind starts to gravitate towards wanting. I must possess. And when you don't possess it, then you suffer. And when you do possess it, you still suffer, right? What do you suffer from at that point? You're happy for a moment, but then you suffer right away. Or maybe a little bit of time on, you suffer worrying about losing it, right? So you suffer in terms of not having it, and when you have it, you suffer as well. So by releasing the clinging, releasing the grasping, you release your suffering. And then where karma is habitual, so we've carried on from millions of years, how many lifetimes we've been, of habitually clinging, grasping. So it takes a lot of effort, a lot of focus, a lot of concentration, a lot of practice to eventually release all that. Right? So you think about, imagine an onion, right? A lot of layers, a lot of tiny layers. If you try to look at the layers, it's almost transparent. Karma is transparent to us. We don't remember in the past, right? Imagine each layer is karma. Each layer is grasping. Each layer is clinging. So when we grasp for something, we suffer. Okay, that's like a layer on ourselves. Now, when we don't grasp for something, we experience something, we don't grasp it, then we're releasing that. Now imagine practicing is think about peeling away those layers, right? So you're letting go, you're releasing, letting go. Eventually, you get to the point where you get, when you peel all the layers. Think about it. What do you think? What is there? Right? Think about an onion. Peel all the layers, every single layer. Every single. You don't have anything left.
Just yourself.
Right. Your true
inner,
self.
Yeah.
Your true self. The non-clinging, non-grasping self. That's abundant. There's no distinction now. There's no boundary between I, this body, this recognition, and everything else. When there's no identification of self with anything else, then there's no grasping. There's no need for that. And the suffering ends. That's just a basic analogy. It's much more complicated than that.
Yeah, yeah.
I just have a picture of what it means.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes?
How can you stay present and in the moment when you're not meditating? What is a good technique for that?
All right. So when you were walking in meditation, you were practicing as well, right? So find a point of focus, wherever that may be. You can use the breath. The breath is so easy. It's always there, right? You can't live without breathing. Right? So focus on the breath. And when you're doing something, focus on whatever that you're doing. Don't let the mind wander. And if the mind wanders, just gently bring your attention back to what you're doing. And when you finish with that, you're doing something else. You do the same thing. You focus on doing that. When you're driving, you focus on driving. When you're reading, you focus on reading. When you're eating, you focus on eating. Right? When you go to the bathroom, you focus on going to the bathroom. Right? That's all it is. It's very simple. It's not easy to do because our mind is habitually moving away, grasping on something. It doesn't like to be still. It doesn't like to stay still. It gets bored really quickly. You know, it's just like, you know, you'll be walking 10 miles, right? You're tired, and you wish, I have a place to sit so I can rest, right? But then when you rest, how long do you rest before you want to stand up again? Right? The mind's always agitated, and the body's always agitated as well. It's the practice is to be aware of that agitation and not get drawn into it, not to react. Does that help? Is that helpful?
Yeah, like when you're thinking about, let's say, something you have to do the next day, you're trying to enjoy moments with your loved ones. Like, is there a technique or just like a mantra or anything?
Okay, yeah. So mantra, if a mantra help you to bring you back to the present, then use a mantra. Find a mantra that's easy for you to remember, that helps you to remind you to come back to the present, right? So that doesn't mean we don't plan for the future, right? When you need to plan for the future, you focus on planning for the future. And when you're done planning, that's done. It doesn't help to worry about what you need to do, right? You only can change in the present moment. You only can do in the present moment. So what you have planned, if the time isn't there to deal with that yet, there's no need to think about it. When the time comes to work on it, then you diligently focus on, put all your energy in there to work on it. It's like if you're a student, right? You're studying, the hour that you're studying, focus everything on your study. But if you study but you're thinking about playing or thinking about something else, you don't have the concentration. You're not going to get all what you study in your mind. you'll forget, right? And then when you go play, now you worry because you don't remember what you've studied. Now you worry. So you're constantly worrying, right? So do what you need to do at the moment. Once you're done, let it go. Because once it's done, you can't, worrying about it doesn't help. It just makes it worse, right? That's called suffering upon suffering. That's the idea where in the Buddhist psychology is suffering creates suffering. That's the habit. That's the karma. That's the cause and effect. Right? So to move away from that cause and effect of suffering, do what you need to do when you're done. Let it go. So it comes back to, again, letting go, right? Letting go. Practice of letting go.
Thank you.
What else? Well, thank you for coming, and hopefully see you next week.